Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemoration. Today, we are commemorating World Number Day. It is an international day observed globally on first Saturday of November, which takes place on November 4th this year. So the number, also known as the banded anteater or walpurti, is an insectivorous marsupial that almost extensively eats termites. The numbat is considered a faunal emblem of Western Australia. This species was once widespread in southern Australia, but due to limited to a few small colonies in Western Australia, with an estimated wild population of less than 1,000. As an endangered species, it's protected by different conservation programs. Recently, numbats have been reintroduced to fenced-in nature reserves in South Australia and New South Wales on World Numbat Day. Conservation groups raise awareness about this amazing mammal. They also raise funds for research and protecting zoos in Australia, and also participate via special exhibitions with images of numbers. So World Numbat Day is a holiday that celebrates the unique mammal emblem of Western Australia and encourages conservation efforts. And the founder and the origins of the day are still, though unknown. The numbat has also known as banded anteater or walpurti, is an insectivorous marsupial. Its diet consists almost exclusively of termites. The species was once widespread in southern Australia, but is now limited to few small colonies in Western Australia. Therefore, it is an endangered species and is protected by different conservation programs. Recently, numbat is considered the faunal emblem of Western Australia. Unlike most the other marsupials, The numbat leads a life mainly due to the restrictions of special diet. Numbats are not big and have 5 toes on their feet paws and 4 on their hind legs. However, like other animals or mammals that eat termites or ants, however, like other mammals that eat termites or ants, the numbat has a degenerative jaw with up to 50 small non-functional teeth, and although it can chew it rarely does. So the deliberate release of the European red fox wipes out the entire population of numbats in Victoria, NSW, South Australia, and almost all numbats in Western Australia in 19th century. An intensive research and conservation program is created to help increase the population of numbats. The volunteers of the program help save the numbats from extinction by raising funds and awareness. Project Numbat since 2006. The reintroduction of numbats, it began at a large feast in Nature Reserve in Mallee Cliffs National Park in New South Wales. The numbat is a faunal emblem of Western Australia and has the role of restraining termites. The main reasons for the decline in its numbers and the loss of habitat and being eaten by foxes by the Europeans in the 1800s. And it's not closely related to any marsupial, but still one of the closest relatives is now the extinct Tasmanian tiger. So donate to organizations concerned with protecting number or endangered species in general. Project Numbat could also be so fulfilling in role in raising awareness is the best way to help is the main aim of the day. After all, spread information about the holiday and these mammals on social media. So these numbers have sense of smell. It uses its sense of smell to find shallow and unfortified underground galleries that termites build between the nest and the feeding place. It eats it eats 20,000 termites daily. The actual number spends most of its time searching for termites. During the breeding season, the female and male vocalize by producing a series of soft clicks. The breeding season is in February and March. Numbered gestation lasts 15 days, and as a result, 4 babies are born. The animal was discovered by research team and explored the Avon Valley under the leadership of Robert. So it is a chance to get introduced to these unique, cute animals. You'll fall in love immediately. Just like any other animals, numbers have their role in ecosystem, which includes keeping termites in check. Today is also commemorated as National Easy Bake Oven Day. Baking is an easy bake oven is a saying or satisfying and rewarding experience. Now that we are talking about you had one as a child. If you don't, it's never too late. Pretending to be an adult is fun. When you are a kid, also the only time is exciting. And the easy bake oven provides the ideal recipe for playing a fairly accentual game of pretend. The early models of easy bake ovens utilized the excess heat from incandescent bulbs to heat the oven. So this day is created to celebrate the simply brilliant easy bake ovens that kids love. So the easy bake oven is suitable for children aged 8 and above. Easy bake ovens continue to sold by toy manufacturer Hasbro, and the Easy Bake Ultimate Oven is bigger than Easy Bake Oven, allowing bigger portions of delectable meals to be cooked. Today is also commemorated as National Waiting for the Barbarians Day in South Africa and US. To commemorate South African born laureate, Nobel laureate J.M. Coetzee eponymous novel, Waiting for the Barbarians, was first published in 1980. The book is about a magistrate who rules over the settlement on behalf of the empire. Yeah. So today we are also commemorating National Waiting for Barbarians Day, which is observed every year on November 4th to commemorate South African born Nobel laureate J.M. Coetzee's eponymous novel, Waiting for the Barbarians, was the first published in 1980. The book is about a magistrate who rules over the settlement on behalf of the empire, of which he is faithful servant. But certain events and the arrival of interrogation experts jolts him into sympathy with the victims, and the book describes his journey as he goes through a crisis of conscience and rebellion. John Maxwell Coetzee, born on February 9, 1940, in Cape Town, in a South African Australian novelist, essayist, linguist, and translator. He is among the critically acclaimed writers in English language. Along with the Nobel Prize, he has also won the Booker Prize, the CNA Prize, and holds several other awards along with honorary doctorates. He was the first writer to be awarded the Booker Prize twice, once for Life and Times of Michael K. in 1983 and again in 1999 for Disgrace. He has spent time working in many different places around the world, including London, New York, and Texas. He currently lives in Adelaide, Australia. There, he was made an honorary research fellow in English department of the University of Adelaide. He is listed as a professor of literature in English and creative writing at the school. Waiting for the Barbarians, published in 1980, was chosen by Penguin Books for its series. Great Books of the 20th Century is also won the James Tate Black Memorial Prize and Geoffrey Faber Memorial Prize for fiction. Coetzee is said to have taken the title from the 1904 poem Waiting for the Barbarians by the Greek poet Constantine P. Cavafy. Coetzee was heavily influenced by it. So John Maxwell Coetzee is born on February 9 to Zacharias Coetzee, an occasional attorney and government employee, and Vera Coetzee, a school teacher, in 1940. Today is also commemorated as Russians' Day of Unity in Russia, commemorating a popular uprising in Moscow against Polish forces in 1612. Today, Russia celebrates the unity of diverse multi-ethnic society. It is a deal with deep historical significance, yet one of the newest holidays in Russia. Unity Day is synonymous with beloved national heroes Kuzma Minin and Prince Dmitry Pozarsky, who to the belief that all social strata in Russia banded together to uphold the country's independence when they were or was neither a Tsar or a patriarch to lead them. So the origins of Russia's Day of Unity go back to Smuta, a historically turbulent period when political unrest was at its peak in Russia. Wars with Poland and Sweden weakened an already struggling economy. Sensing vulnerability, Poland took advantage of the civil unrest and invaded Russia. They occupied Moscow for 2 years until 1612, when a historic uprising took place. Leading the resistance were Kuzma Minin, a merchant from Nizhny Novgorod, and Dmitry Pozarsky, a respected and high-ranking prince. Together, they led off Moscow in victorious battle. Freeing the city from occupation, Minin and Pozarsky became national heroes. In 1963, Tsar Mikhail Romanov declared the day in a national holiday to symbolize the strength of Russian unity. Russia continued celebrating the Day of Unity until 1917 when a new force arrived, the Soviet Union. But the dreams of mighty Soviet Union were not meant to be. In 1991, the disintegration of the Soviet Union paved the way for modern Russia. Once again, new values would guide the nation. Gone but not entirely forgotten, the Day of Unity underwent several transformations during this period. It was also called the Day of Accord and Conciliation, and later became one of the days of military honor. In 2005, President Vladimir Putin reintroduced Russia's Day of Unity and removed November 7 from the list of official Russian holidays. Since 2005, Day of Unity has been celebrated as Russian solidarity and patriotism cutting across ethnicities. The Red Square has only one statue, that of Kuzma Minin and Prince Dmitry Pozarsky, as ultimate symbols of Russia's unity. In Old Russian, red or krasnya meant beautiful and had no political connotations. Lenin's body has been on display at the Red Square since 1930. So that is the site of Vladimir Lenin's mummified remains. Ivan the Terrible built a wooden turret to spy on his subjects from the enchanting Tsar's towers. Although the resurrection gates and the Kazan Cathedral fell to the political unrest, the country restored both to their former glory. Today is also commemorated as Use Your Common Sense Day in US. Since common sense is an important tool for living life, common sense is applied knowledge of simple, sensible things, such as not putting metal into microwaves, of jumping into rivers, knowing what is under the water. The date also marks the birthday of Will Rogers, the man who remarked common sense ain't that common. We need to remind ourselves the importance of applying common sense to our everyday lives and decisions to avoid unnecessary dangers and make the most of the opportunities in the social media age. So, this is a pet peeve of many. The common sense seems to have fallen by the wayside. There are even calls for subjects stimulating common sense in the school curriculum in the US because of few seem to employ it. So common sense as a concept is ancient, first being brought to the limelight by the great philosopher Aristotle. He described it as the ability with which animals, including humans, process sense perceptions, memories, and imagination to reach many types of judgments. To his thinking, only humans have real reason thinking, which takes them beyond common sense. This was then carried forward in the Roman interpretation, which holds that concepts like ideas and perceptions are held by man and make them more sophisticated than animals. French philosopher René Descartes established the most common modern meaning, and it left controversies when he stated that everyone has similar and sufficient amount of common sense, but it is rarely used well. Since the age of enlightenment, the term common sense has been used for a rhetorical effect and approvingly as a standard for good taste and source of scientific and logical axioms. In modern times, common sense is defined as the basic level of practical knowledge and judgment that we will all need to help us live reasonably and safely. Without any doubt, applying common sense could save one a lot of problems. Common Sense Day was created by Bud Bilage, a career mentor, motivational speaker, blogger, and author. He starred in some leading TV shows and magazines, has written 19 books that highlight how to succeed in life and how the appreciation of common sense is vital to the success. Common Sense Day was first celebrated in 2015. So Thomas Paine compiles a pamphlet called Common Sense and stated the need for independence of 13 British colonies in America from Britain in 1776. So philosophies such as Thomas Reid and Douglas Stewart espouse that thought that the common sense is based on more than feelings, and it places all men on relatively equal terms in 18th century. G. E. Moore writes an essay titled A Defense of Common Sense, in which he argues that individuals can make many types of statements about what they judge to be true. Common sense memes, the role of memes on topics such as common sense, especially in shaping thinking of teens, become a subject for research in introduction of meme studies. So, by all accounts, Use Your Common Sense Day was first celebrated in 2015 because our current age focuses more on enlightenment, which is theoretical exercise. What passes for common sense often more practical is less common. Your mental ability and the life experience together teach you to make good judgments, so we are not born with common sense. So this is a good day to spend time reviewing the events of the past with a fresh perspective. This will help recognize areas where you made avoidable mistakes and help better decisions in the future. When you do make that silly mistake, laugh and shrug it off as a lesson learned and continue from there. We all suffer from lapses in common sense, and the best way to deal with it is with humor and then making a different choice next time. Have a blast laughing about silly things people do and chat about how to avoid making mistakes like that. So, the thought provoking and expository nature of the 47-page pamphlet made it powerful enough to stir people to take part in the American Revolution. It was sold and distributed widely. The read aloud to the taverns and meeting places. It was copied over 5,000 times. 5 lakh times during the years of the American revolution. In proportion to the population at the time, it has the largest sale and circulation of any book published in American history. As of 2006, it remains the all-time best-selling American title, and it is still in print today. So thinking and making decisions might seem so normal that we at times overlook their importance. This day reminds us of how vital they are and raises our awareness of the effect of our choices and actions. By applying common sense to our everyday doings, we get to avoid potentially dangerous or expensive situations. This is not only beneficial to us, but also to others as well. As humans, we have done amazing things from building airplanes to going on space. We can forget how easy it is still to make silly mistakes. This day reminds us and keeps us humble. So use your common sense. Today is also commemorated as Flag Day in Panama to commemorate country's second official liberation from external aggressors. Panama has a unique distinction of having two Independence Days. Panamanians or Panamanians have valiantly resisted colonization for centuries, whether Spain, Colombia, or later US. Several forces has tried to stifle Panamanian self-determination. The country has emerged stronger every time. Flag Day celebrates Panamanian official separation from the Republic of Colombia in 1903. November is Panama is a month of celebration. The country parties for 5 days straight, of which Flag Day falls on day 2. Like several Latin American countries, Panama saw centuries of Spanish colonization. Its strategic location was vital for Spanish trade and commerce ambitions across the seas. Panama's indigenous peoples grew increasingly unhappy, but a full-blown revolution seemed to be far-fetched. 300 years under Spanish rule passed before the winds of change arrived. Francisco de Miranda, rousing calls for resistance, paved the way for Venezuela's liberation from Spanish rule. He inspired an entire continent to fight for self-determination. Much later, Simón Bolívar became a cultural and political icon, helping Latin America colonies like Panama became independent from Spain. On November 10, 1821, the Panamanians called for independence from Spain. After a period of brave fighting, the country became free of colonial rule on November 28, 1921. A new Panama was born, yet the people worried about future persecutions and Spain and looked up for further support. So Panama allied with former colonies and joined the Republic of Greater Colombia. For some years, Panama remained a part of Gran Colombia, a republic that included countries such as Venezuela, Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, and Guyana. In the early 20th century, Panama eventually broke ties with Greater Colombia. Yet the decision's core was desire for the autonomy over the Panama Canal construction. The US wanted to negotiate with Panama directly, but Colombia opposed any possible treaty. Backed by the US, Panama declared an independence from Colombia in November 1903. So the agreement gave the US complete control over the canal. In return, the US guaranteed the sovereignty of the new republic. So the Panamanian flag was designed by Maria de la Osa de Almeida and adopted on March 25, 1925. She worked alongside her sister-in-law, and Nice to create 3 copies of flag when Panama gained its independence, and all of these flags were flown. These first 3 flags were reproduced and dispersed widely. Today is also commemorated as National Bison Day in US. So you can see them everywhere on coins, sports team logos, and a couple of state flags. So it's not the bald eagle. This honor is reserved for the North American bison. On National Bison Day, an annual event that falls on the first Saturday in November, all the Americans should reflect on the impact bison has a part of our environmental and cultural heritage. Bison are especially revered by native people, central to their survival, to both food and spiritual inspiration. So, hunting dramatically reduced the population, leaving a mere 700 in private herds. Even Yellowstone was left with only 23 bison by 1902. So, the Intertribal Indian Council formed not only to return bison to tribal lands, but also to create culturally sensitive educational programs and provide both technical resources and help to 56 tribes. The first conservation agreement between an environmental organization and a diverse collective of native breed American tribes agreed to combine efforts to return wild bison to tribal land in 1997. The Senate passed its first resolution honoring National Bison Day, and so stand in support of returning wild bison to their original tribal lands on thousands of acres of Native American reservations. Collaborations among certain groups are working to remind Americans about the important role bison play in the lives of Native peoples. Bison are considered sacred and they are even featured in certain tribal creation stories. Bisons have also been a source of food and clothing, providing hides for tents. So stand in support of returning wild bison to their original tribal lands on thousands of acres of Native American reservations. Collaboration among certain groups are working uh, to remind Americans about the importance of role bison play in the lives of Native peoples. Today is also commemorated as National Candy Day in US. And these sweet and sour treats have been favorite snacks since childhood, whether they are hard, chewy, fruit flavored, or melt in your mouth and not in your hand sort of treaty. Candies uh, became more So candy first came to America in the 18th century from France and Britain. Very few colonists were skilled in sugar work, meaning only the wealthy were able to enjoy these new treats. 1930s, when the Industrial Revolution was first in full swing, national technological advance or technological advances allowed candy to be accessible to be more just than the rich, including a new market, especially for children. While some artists and sugar co-workers can remain so today is also commemorated as National Day of Community Service in Dominica. So it is a national day in Dominica that kicks off a national-wide cleanup campaign asking local citizens to pick up litter that has been accumulated on the country's streets as a result of country's Independence Day festivities. The Dominican government assists communities by encouraging them to participate in special projects, but ultimately communities are allowed to choose any initiative they wish to participate in. So the Caribbean island nation of Dominica achieved complete sovereignty from the United Kingdom on November 3rd, 1878, and is located in the Caribbean Sea. Nationwide cause is most effective approach to contribute to nation building and local environment, help out donating your time and services. Taking care of one's country is a civic duty and that everyone must fulfill as a citizen. Environmental protection is a crucial topic that has been addressed at this community service day, and it is also possible to include environmental education for these days. So start an initiative to encourage people to plant a tree in your neighborhood to commemorate National Community Service Day. Continue to plant trees at the same time as a cleanup campaign. There are numerous benefits to participating in this exercise, which will become So Dominica is the only country that has an official holiday to honor community services. In addition to planting trees, beautification of the environment is also thought of on this day. The government of Dominica funds the cleanup and beautification process. So one day is open to all citizens and Dominicans across the So depending on the application submitted by the community groups, budget allocations will be made. So it is celebrated as a day for everyone. This means that everyone can dedicate their mind, their time and resources to ensure that they clean the streets after the independence. Dominica is the only country in the world that celebrates a holiday dedicated to cleaning up the litter from its Independence Day celebrations. All Dominicans participate in the cleanup activities regardless of age. It encourages volunteering, particularly among teenagers, and helps communities become stronger. Anyone may participate and make a difference in their local neighborhood. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. The feedback form has been already raised. We request everyone to complete the feedback form before you leave the platform. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.